Well, hello everybody. Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com. Hey, I'm in the shop today. We're working on this trailer build today and tomorrow. This is Saturday. Going to have this ready Monday for a customer to pick up. He's local here in Cleveland, Texas. And so we're located right here in Houston, Texas area, up in Kingwood, Porter, Texas area, but we have people that get rigs, trailer rigs, truck skids all over from us. In fact, we have a gentleman coming in from Atlanta tomorrow to pick up his rig. It's a service body truck, and so I'm putting some of the nozzles and the guns and things like that together. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to kind of show you how I do that, what I use, what people get on the rigs, and we'll go over that coming up next. Okay guys, when you're building your rig yourself, or if we're building it for you, whatever, there's just certain tools and things that you need, like J-rods and guns and wands, downstream injectors, things of that nature. So that's what I kind of want to go over, what I use, because this customer out of Atlanta, he attended our school back in January and then bought a truck and brought it down to me. We had a service body put on it. We had the truck Rhino lined or Linexed, and all that kind of stuff. And his biggest thing was, hey, I want my truck to be just like yours. I want everything you have on it, I want on mine. So that's what I'm doing, is putting together his guns and wands, downstream injectors, J-rods, things of that nature. So I'm going to explain what I use and how I use it and why I use it and all that kind of stuff. And just thought it might help some of you guys. So the first thing, let's talk about the J-rods. He's getting a 2 J-rods. I always talk about buy 2 of everything if you can afford it, because you just never know when you may lose one or one goes bad. You can quickly just grab another one and keep going. So he's got a J-rod for the Kingslinger. We got the 0020, the 0040. Those are the 2 nozzles for distance. And then he's got a 2540 and a 2520, which are your fan nozzle sprays. They're going to spray at an angle. So we got 2 of those. And then for the pressure washer, he's getting an 8 gallon per minute pressure washer. We're actually just using a 3 nozzle J-rod holder. We have these put together, welded together, and the reason I do this, because we used to use the J-rod that had 4 nozzles, but that 4th nozzle, which was the high pressure shooter nozzle, which is much like a red tip that you would get with a machine, we just never use it, except in rare cases where we're trying to blow off a driveway or blow leaves in a yard, or sometimes to clean high gutters and get some of that mist. But you can also use the shooter tip off of this to do that too. So what I did was I've eliminated that nozzle, and we just go with the 3 J-rod, and that also helps to, when we're looking for J-rods in our trucks, we just automatically know that the 4 is for the Kingslinger and the 3 is for the pressure washer. So on this you get the 0060, that's the shooter nozzle for the pressure washer, and then you have a 2520, that is the low pressure. Say you want to clean brick or trim out a driveway or whatever, that's low pressure, and it's safe enough to clean, hard surfaces that you need to. And then we have the 2560, which is your low chemical applicator nozzle. So those all go into this little 3 J-rod. So this customer on the utility body truck is using the Flow Pro remote system. So he can use these 2 nozzles, the high reach nozzle, the shooter nozzle, as well as the low pressure nozzle, which is the applicator, and he can hit his remote and he can apply his bleach mix with this. He can then hit the remote for rinse, and he can rinse with those nozzles if he wants to. If you don't have a remote system, then you have to use a bypass injector and go back and turn the valve or somehow shut your bleach off. Now, if you use this nozzle to rinse with no remote system, this is also going to turn the bleach mix off so that you can rinse with that nozzle. but it is a little bit of pressure, so it's not ideal for rinsing, tall surfaces or higher up or things of that nature. So it's mainly for cleaning lower surfaces that need just a little bit of what I call a little bit of encouragement. And that's mainly what it's used for. But it will turn the bleach off if you don't have a remote system. So basically what we do is we take those 3 nozzles. Let me make sure I've got the right ones. This is the 0060, that's the 2520, and that's the 2540, and that's the 2560 right there. So all we're doing is we've already put a little Teflon tape on our nozzle. We're just going to put a little bit of our blue lock seal on there. Put that into the nozzle holder that I've already got into the nozzle holder. And then we're going to use our wrench, the right size wrench. We never have available because we go through so many. Where's that 9/16 at? There it is. Okay, so all we're doing is just kind of tighten these up. We're not wrenching down on them. We just want to get them nice and snug. Here's a 2560. And this one sits a little bit taller, just the way it is, the way they're made. So we'll take that one, wrench it down. And again, what we're going to do on this is make sure we get the angle of the spray where it's not going to interfere with a nozzle next to it. And so we're going to make one more turn. That should be nice and snug. And then we'll take the 2520, do the same thing, a little lock seal on it, tighten it up. Could use a socket for this if you wanted to, but I just like using a wrench. Deep well socket works great, but I just feel like I have a little bit more control tightening it with this. That's just me. Somebody may be different. So now we've got all 3 nozzles, and you can see what I'm talking about, how they're all kind of angled where when they spray, they're going to spray out and they're not going to hit the other side of the nozzle. So that's the 3. And then the 4J rod nozzle for the Kingslinger, I always put the 2 shooter tips next to each other because those are the 2 I use the most. And again, we're just going to kind of tighten them up just like we did on the other one. And then the 0040 will go right next to it. Again, just kind of snug it up. Doesn't have to be over tight. If you over tighten, that can cause cracking of the welds in the J-rod. So you have to be real careful that you don't get it too tight. Next one we're going to do is the low applicator nozzle, or the larger fan spray nozzle for the Kingslinger. So you've got 2 shooter tips on here and 2 fan spray nozzles. I like the 0020, the 0040, the 2540, and the 2520. I use mostly the 0020 and the 2520. In fact, in my truck for some jobs I have just a 2 nozzle holder, and I put only the 0020 and the 2520 on it. So that's almost too tight, but it'll be all right. And so that's what the J-rod looks like for the Kingslinger. So he's getting 2 of those, and 2 of the 3. I'll call it a 3-banger, but 2 of those for the pressure washer. So this is the one we just put together, and I got to put the other 2 together for him. Silicast. Hey everybody, just want to let you know that weekend of May 20th and 21st, we have the Deco boys will be coming back to town. Steve and Josh and Mike, I believe it is, are coming back for a weekend of training. We're going to be doing actual paver sealing at a hotel. We're also going to do some concrete sealing there. And then we're going to go to my house and we're going to clean, and we're also going to seal part of my house. We're not going to do the whole thing, but we're going to do part of it just so you guys can get a good demonstration and some good training on how their products can also be used for sealing wood. So that's the weekend of May 20th and 21st. Go to pressurecleaningschool.com/events, and you'll see it there. I think it's the second thing in May, after our May 9th and 10th hands-on training that we do every month here. So great training opportunity. It's absolutely free, but you do need to register. pressurecleaningschool.com/events, and that's at the Courtyard Marriott in Kingwood, Texas, and it's free. Now, while I'm putting this one together, the other two J rods, we'll remind you guys on our website for a lot of the things that we sell, like the pressure washing gun assembly, downstream injector bypass kits, several things. You have the option to choose whether you want to buy it ready to use, which we will put it together for you based on the orientation that you choose. There's options for you to do that. Or you can buy it DIY, which is do it yourself. So ready to use means we're going to put it together. It's going to come to you ready to use. And DIY means you're buying the parts and you're going to put it together yourself. So on a lot of items, some of these items you can save anywhere from $5, $10, $15 depending on what you're buying. If you know how to put it together and want to save money, you can do that. I was always, when I was buying from regular vendors, I always wanted everything delivered to me ready to use. I did not want to take the time to have to put anything together. So some guys like to put their stuff together, save a few bucks. I like to save time and have it arrive to me ready to use. Now on these J-rod fittings, the way we normally ship these is we do not put them together because we don't know how you want the orientation of your nozzles, so we let you decide that. So you just have to Teflon tape them, goop them, and then tighten them in there, like I was showing you. Okay guys, so the next thing we're going to put together is downstream injector check valve. He is getting 2 of these as backups. He already has one that's installed on the Flow Pro bypass system, and so he's getting 2 more of these just so he has 2 as backups. In case one fails, he can just easily swap out the injector. But as we've always discussed on these injectors, there is a little arrow pointing that direction, and so that's telling you that the fluid is going to come up through the siphon hose that's attached to the hose barb and send it down that way. So when you put your fittings on, your quick connect fittings, you need to make sure that it's situated so that that arrow is pointing towards your gun. Okay, very, very important. That's where a lot of people make mistakes. And sometimes their bucket will start backfilling with water. It's generally a case of either the injector has gone bad, or most often is because they put the fittings on wrong. So in our case, we always know in all of our machines that the plug points the way of the water flow. It's also how we do all of our builds. Okay, so the fitting coming off of the machine is the plug fitting, and so the coupler connects to that because the water is coming out of the plug. We just always know our downstream injectors, wherever the arrow is pointing, that's what gets the plug fitting. So we're going to put a little Teflon tape on our downstream injector on both sides. And what I normally do, since we're putting the check valve on here, is I'm going to take the hose barb off. So I'm going to put this into my vise, and then using a 9/16, I'm going to take, actually it's a half inch box end wrench. I'm going to take this fitting off the hose barb, and I'm going to hold my hand under it because the ball and spring are going to come out, and I want to save that. So I've got it a little loose. Thought I had it a little loose. There we go. And so I just get it about to the end, and then I'll use my thumb to do the rest. And that ball and spring will pop out into my hand. The ball in this one is in the hose barb. It stayed in the hose barb, so I'm going to take it out. And then all three of these fittings, I just make a collection of these in case I ever need them. Never will, because we're using the check valve. I just put them into a little baggie. And then we have this fitting. This fitting is actually made special for this Downstream injector. We have a lot of people that call and want to buy just this fitting. We don't supply just the fitting. We have these made in brass, and we also have them made in stainless steel, so that you have an option on the website to choose brass or stainless steel. I use the brass because it's a little bit cheaper, and I've never noticed any difference in the stainless steel fitting lasting any longer than the brass. So I just use the brass, especially when you're downstreaming, because it's not that strong of a mix. So this is the adapter fitting that allows us to put the check valve on, but it has to be adapted to meet the same thread as that came out, and we have to have it specially made by a metal guy, a fabricator. He actually makes these, and he makes them in brass for us, and he makes them in stainless steel. Okay, so this is going to go, I'm going to get this cleaned out, take it off, do a little tap, 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 and then put this in. Let's get that turned so you can see it in the camera. Sorry guys, this is going to be a long video, but hopefully it helps you guys. And so I just put a little bit of my blue lock seal on it, and this goes in. Oop, wrong one, Doug. Get the tape on this other side. This tape is a little wide for the bottom fitting, but you just got to kind of stretch it on there and run it a little bit above. Get it on there good. And then the smaller end of the fitting is going to go into the injector. These, I think we only supply these ready to use because we want to make sure that if there's a problem with them leaking or whatever, we know we put it together, and there's no dispute about, well, you put it together wrong or whatever. We know we put it together. If there's a problem, we'll automatically just immediately got to take care of it for you. So we're making sure the check valve has an arrow on it too, and that's indicating the flow of the mix that's coming up out of your bucket or your tank. So we want to make sure that's pointing up towards the injector when we put it on. And so we put that on, and then we use a wrench to tighten it down. And then we have our hose barb. That's a 1/4 inch threaded to 1/4 inch barb. Put a little tape on it. Some more lock seal. And then it goes right on the end here. And then that's where your hose will go, and then into your bucket or tank for bleach mix. Okay. Then up here, I look at my orientation. I see the arrow is pointing this way. That arrow is pointing that way. Okay. So I'm going to take this one, put a little goop on it. I'm going to put my plug fitting there because that's the direction the solution is going to come out of. And then over here, I'm going to do the same thing. And then put my quick connect fitting on that side, and then we'll tighten those up. Again, just nice and snug, don't over tighten. Let the Teflon tape and the lock seal do its job. No need to over tighten because you want to be able to get it off if you have to change these fittings. And you will. These are stainless steel fittings that are on here, but because of the bleach going through them, they're going to go bad. They just don't make stainless steel like they used to. But that's how we put the downstream check valve injectors together. Now, the reason we do this is because we're eliminating the ball and the spring inside of this downstream injector. This check valve is supposed to get you up to 20% more mix. I don't know if it's 20% or more or what exactly it is. I don't care. I have never done a bucket test. That's just the way I am. All I care about is the bleach strong enough to change the color of that algae. If it is, then I know it's doing its job. If it's not, then I know I need to go to either a pump-up sprayer for a stronger mix or my Kingslinger soft wash system to get a stronger mix to get that algae to change its color. Can't clean a roof with this. Got to still use a soft wash system. Okay. There's some cases on 4 gallon per minute machines where you might can, depending on how dirty it is, but I've tried it before, did a little bit, but I still ended up having to use the Kingslinger. So that's the downstream check valve assembly right there. Okay guys, adjustable wand. This is a great tool to have. This allows you to control the pressure as you're cleaning so that you can go from high pressure to low pressure. It's great for trimming out driveways. It's great for removing gum with heat. It's great for cleaning brick where you don't want to get too much pressure on it. And so when you buy this just the wand itself. You have to buy the gun separate. But we do now supply the accessory kit for it when you buy the wand. It just automatically comes with it, okay? These were originally made for downstreaming, okay? So you've got a downstream nozzle down at the bottom here. Up top here, you can put your green, your yellow, whatever nozzle that you want in there. And what would happen is if you're hooked up to your bleach and you turn this down, it's gonna grab your bleach and shoot it out of the bottom barrel. As you turn it back up, it turns this off and only water comes out of here, but it's high pressure if you're using like your green tip or whatever, or yellow tip or whatever. So we only use it when it's not hooked to bleach. We use it just for trimming out, cleaning delicate areas, things of that nature. But all you have to do is put on these fittings on the end here, and then also your gun here. Okay guys, so I've got everything threaded for the adjustable gun. Really all we have to do is put the gun on it. So I've already thread taped that, and then we're just going to take this and spin the gun on. This is a Legacy gun. It's pretty much exactly the same gun as the Suttner orange gun, but just Legacy brand. Suttner makes it for Legacy. And so I just get that turned and I get it kind of even with the bottom barrel. Is what I want. Okay, I like mine like that. There's some guys that will twist this gun another twist up, halfway turn up, so the gun is like that, and then they've got the barrel on either side. I just like it at the bottom. It's a personal preference thing. So once I've got that on there, the gun, then I'm going to put my coupler fitting on the bottom, because like I said, the plug points the way for me for the water, so I'm using a plug down here. Some guys do it opposite. It's a personal preference. It makes no difference to me how you do that, but this is the way I like it, and I've just always wanted it, always done it that way. I was just taught early on, many years ago, plug points the way of the water flow, so that's why I do it that way. So we get that on. And I'm going to flip the gun over. And I'll show you putting the fittings on at the end. So that's right here. Where is, this is the chemical low pressure nozzle if you were using this to downstream. And so it goes on the bottom barrel. We're going to make sure this is pointed sideways, so when it sprays out, it's spraying like that. It's going to go that direction. We don't want it to go up. Okay? So when you tighten it, just tighten it a little bit. We're going to use, I think it's the 5/8. Yeah, 5/8 wrench. Or you can use an adjustable. And I'm just going to watch the angle of the spray. So it's not 5/8. It is 9/16. Now I've got it turned to where it's going to spray straight out. I'll show you that in just a second. Next thing we're going to do is put our 1/4 by 1/4 threaded nipple on it. That goes on the top. And the reason we do that is so that the colored nozzle sprayer, spray nozzle that you put in will, that's what we use the 5/8 for, is this, will extend out past the brass soap nozzle so that they don't interfere with each other. So here we'll put a little more dab of lock seal, that will do ya. And there you go. She's ready to go. Now you can put whatever nozzle you want to in there. This is spraying that direction, so it's going to spray out and not up and hit that. And that's how you set up an adjustable wand. Okay, so I'm going to put together a ball valve setup. This is what goes on the end of your pressure hose. It's got a swivel on it, so it helps keep that hose from getting all tangled up and twisted, and you don't have to stop and untwist it by hand. And the ball valve itself helps you, or allows you to be able to turn the water flow off at your pressure hose and switch attachments, say like from a wand to your surface cleaner. You can also spray out of these. You can downstream and then crack a little bit, and it'll shut off the flow of the downstream injector. Just got to be careful that you're not going to bog down your machine, so you don't want to crack it too much. But great little tool to have. I always install mine because, again, plug out for me. The plug points the way the water's going to come out. So the ball valve handle itself has a long end and a little short end, and so I always install mine with the longer end pointing towards the plug. Be real careful with these, and when you're twisting them and turning them on and off, do it with your fingers like this. Don't grab this like this and try to turn it, because there's a little notch here where it turns off right there, and if you get your hand in there and you turn that thing, it's happened to me before, and you turn it all the way closed like that, and then you've got your palm in here, it'll pinch the ever living fire out of it. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to tape up my plug fitting. This is real time, folks. Sorry it's so low, so long, but hopefully that helps you guys put these things together, because you can buy this ball valve setup like a lot of our things I was mentioning. DIY, so that you can put it together yourself. Let me find my, got several things going on this morning. Been working on finishing up a build. All right, so just gonna tighten that down a little bit. And on the other side, I'm gonna flip it over, put it back in the vise. I'm going to tape up my Mossmatic hose swivel, which is 3/8 male pipe thread on one end, 3/8 female pipe thread on the other end, and a little dab will do ya of the lock seal. We'll put that in here. Tighten that down. Then I'm going to shift it down to get it on the swivel part. Tape up my 3/8 male pipe thread, quick connect coupler, female fitting. They're called a bunch of different things. I just call them quick connects. But it's a coupler, it's a female fitting, whatever. So put that in there. And then tighten that up. And then it goes on the end of your pressure washing hose. And that's the final setup and what it looks like. Okay guys, so the last things that I'm going to put together are his pressure wash gun assembly. That's basically his little short gun that's very popular that guys use for downstreaming. So I'm going to put that together, and then we also have two other guns with wands. This is a 47-inch. These are all with the star-shaped grip. And then we've got a 36-inch, and I use different colored handles for the 36, which is a smaller one. And then I use orange gun for the 47. I just do it that way so I can tell the difference when it's in the truck or the trailer. I know orange means the bigger one. So, but putting all three of these together are pretty much the same thing. We're going to put Teflon on everything. We've got the star-shaped grip. We've got a Mossmatic swivel that will allow you to twist the handle of the gun. I had this one on the wrong gun, so I've got to get the excess Teflon off. And when you want to get Teflon tape off of a thread like that, just use a little wire brush, kind of score it a little bit. And then it'll all come right off. You always, anytime you're going to use a fitting that's already had Teflon tape on it, you want to make sure that you get all that stuff off so it doesn't cause any type of leak. Okay, so now we're going to Teflon tape that end of the Mossmatic gun swivel, and we'll put our gun into our vise. Put a little dab of lock seal. This video is probably boring you guys to death. It's going to be so long, but again, I just kind of thought it would help you guys putting some of this stuff together. Like I said, you can choose ready to use, or you can get it DIY. That's up to you. So we'll get that on there. That's that end of the swivel. And we'll take this part, and we've got our end that's going to go into the swivel. And I just kind of hand tighten it down. Then we flip over. going to put Teflon tape on this. Little that'll do ya. And then that's ready for your J-rod. So you can downstream with a nice short gun that's easy to use and easy to walk around the property with. And then here we've got to put our coupler at the bottom for the plug. And then you just do the other two guns and wands, like I said, the same way. Make sure you get that Mossmatic swivel. The gun swivel, we're out of those right now, but have some more coming in. That just allows you to rotate your gun so that you can spray vertically or horizontally without having to stop and move your tip. And that's the Downstream pressure wash gun assembly. The other two guns you do the same way. Okay guys, hope this has been helpful for you. Got to get back to work on this rig and get it finished up. Don't forget, if it has been helpful, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a like, a comment, a question if I can help you in any way. Hit that little bell, that way you get notifications when I come out with any type of content that could possibly help you guys. Hope everyone's having an awesome spring and getting ready, or up north getting ready to get started. As always, if I can help you in any way, pressurecleaningschool@gmail.com. And our phone number, you can call or text, is 281-883-3630. Y'all have a blessed rest of your day.